I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times. On Thursday, January 21st, all anybody's talking about here is snow. The forecast keeps getting worse for Little Rock, maybe 3 or 4 inches tonight, so I got to get it out of here early. We're getting this done early. Got to get to the store and get my chocolate chips, Rotel dip, and maybe a couple of 6-packs of Milwaukee's Best. In other news in Arkansas today, besides the weather, Southwestern Energy, which is the biggest player in the Fayetteville shale gas play in Arkansas, announced today that it's going to lay off more than 1,100 people nationwide, a 40% workforce reduction. 600 jobs are going to be lost in Arkansas. About half of its Arkansas workforce. Gas prices are rising, are falling. It's making demand for high-priced gas in Arkansas not such a good bargain, so they're cutting back their workforce. This was going to be viewed as a permanent boon to the economy in Arkansas. The nature of the markets shows that always can't be counted on. Attorney General Leslie Rutledge today said that she would not answer a question about open carry permits holders who have these permits to carry concealed weapons. Somebody asked whether the rule still applies that a concealed carry permit holder must conceal the weapon, that is, not show it publicly. That's what the rules say now. There's a confusion in the law about whether Arkansas inadvertently or perhaps by subterfuge allowed open carry with the 2013 law that was depicted as a technical correction bill. Rutledge thinks open carry is the law of Arkansas, but she won't say it's necessarily the law for people with concealed carry permits. It's pretty clear the legislature, if not the courts, need to straighten these issues out as the confusion continues to reign. ProPublica, which is a non-profit investigative reporting operation, is published now online, and you can see a link to it on the Arkansas blog. A giant investigation of how Tyson Foods, the nation's biggest meat producer, has worked systematically, beginning on a model that it undertook in Arkansas about 20 years ago, to make workers' compensation a lot less costly for the company and some would argue not as good a benefit for its workers. Well, Tyson, of course, says it's interested in safe production processes and the health of its workers. But it's certainly influenced the membership of workers' compensation commissions. It's changed the law to be more favorable to employers. There's a drop in reported injuries on the work lines. Some say it's because they're not being reported at all, not necessarily safer practices. But it's an interesting read, and it goes in great detail into how Tyson used its political influence to influence Arkansas law and legislators and even the courts in some cases. We had an interesting look this morning at how the so-called ethics amendment, which supposedly improved public ethics in Arkansas, hasn't necessarily achieved very much. That amendment passed by Arkansas voters said candidates for public office could no longer take corporate campaign contributions. Well, I took a look at one state senator today, Eddie Joe Williams, who's a leader in the Senate and who's much favored by the business community for his support of tort reform and similar types of measures. His latest campaign report showed, for example, about $6,800 in contributions. All but $200 came from either PACs, corporate PACs, that is, a corporate CEO or a lobbyist. So we haven't exactly stripped the corporate influence out of political giving at the Arkansas Capitol. Speaking of political giving, Americans for Prosperity, the Koch billionaire financed political organization, which has a well-financed organization in Arkansas, is out campaigning against the bus tax that's on the special primary election ballot March 1st in Pulaski County, a quarter-cent tax to help provide a permanent funding source for the bus company. It's a great idea. It's long overdue. The Arkansas Times editorial is for it. AFP is not. AFP doesn't want to help provide bus service to poor people. They need to get to work. They can walk or ride a bike or do something, but AFP doesn't want to help them. Now, I don't believe AFP doesn't believe in subsidies. They came out earlier for Governor Asa Hutchinson's free lunch highway plan. That is, the governor's going to spend billions of dollars on highway construction in Arkansas without raising any taxes to pay for it. How is he going to do it? He's going to take it from other public programs. This is a starve the beast strategy that AFP and the Koch brothers love. Starve schools, starve programs for poor people, to build highways for them to drive their Mercedes-Benz and trucks on. That'd be fine by them. Unfortunately, that seems to be the theme of the day. And finally, what would the day be without Jason Rapert popping off about something? Today, he's called essentially for the removal from office of Circuit Judge Wendell Griffin for going on his blog and talking about white privilege and criticizing decisions not to prosecute some police who've been involved in fatal shootings in other cities. This just offends Jason Rapert something terrible. He doesn't much like uppity people like Wendell Griffin speaking in public either. He's somebody who's not a very good judge of ethics. He improperly talked to a Supreme Court justice about the same-sex marriage case, forcing that judge to have to recuse from the case. But anyway, it's good for entertainment. If nothing else, the judge probably ought to be a little more judicious about what he talks about. I proposed a cage match, Jason Rapert versus Wendell Griffin. I tell you who win that debate. It wouldn't be the bully from Bigelow. I'm Max Brantley, off to the store for some Rotel dip. See you tomorrow if the roads are clear.